All right, we've got distinguished Toastmaster in the house, Dave Bones. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. I'm Stephana Johnson, your PR manager for District 7. I'm excited to be bringing you a live interview with Mr. Dave Bones. He's going to share with us some scoop. Actually, we're going to get the scoop today on the pathways. I heard a little secret about it, but I didn't get all that. I said, stop, wait. You have to share the secret with the District 7. So we're going to do that today. I'm excited to share that with you all. But before we get started, I'm going to do a quick introduction for Mr. Dave Bones. I love saying that. Thank you, Dave Bones, letting me say that. Mr. Dave Bones. Okay. He's a distinguished Toastmaster. He has been in Toastmasters for 11 years. Lucky number 11 right there. He's currently his club's vice president of education. Wow, awesome. He is a division director, a club coach. Other roles that he has fulfilled include being a division pathways proponent, area director, club mentor, and all club officer roles except, which one do you think it is? That's right, treasurer. He has completed 3 Toastmasters paths. He's working on his 4th, and he has also achieved both the Pathways Mentor designation, that was last year, and the D7 Toastmaster of the Year in 2021. Congratulations. Woohoo.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So I'm going to just turn it over to you because you've got some secrets to share and spill the beans on how Pathways actually came about in our district. I want to know it all. I want to know what happened.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, perhaps I can start with, my own story. And this was me being in Toastmasters for 11 years, as you had mentioned. And I was, of course, much more familiar with the traditional program, with the former competent communication, competent leadership manuals, those sorts of things. And I received a call from one of our excellent district officers, Emily Taylor. And she said, Dave, you need to get your DTM in the old program. And I says, oh my goodness, you're right about this. And Lori Anderson as well encouraged me. And then I was fast and furiously getting that done so I could pull that in within the deadline. But then as we were coming through, I was talking on the phone with PJ Kleffner quite a bit, who is the district director last year. And really, I was asking him, PJ, what can I do to best serve the district this year? And we had a conversation where we're very concerned where folks could get their education awards in the old program, but coming up, it's going to only be pathways. And that is an issue because I'll tell you, many of us, probably you too, it sounds like, Stephana, would just do another speech from the CC manual or do another round of that. But we weren't going to have that. And we figured out a lot of folks don't know how to do this. And as a result, this became an extreme passion of mine. It just hit me in a flash. And I started reaching out in D7. I then got a call from Dr. Gwendolyn Avington, who is the Pathways Proponents Committee chair at the time. And I was just calling out with some innovative ideas. I said, hey, I got this idea about train the trainer, some other things. We're doing a Pathways Minute. And I expected, okay, great, let me add that to the list of ideas. And she said, okay, well, would you like to be a Pathways proponent for an entire division? And I said, well, let me be clear. I haven't been focusing on pathways. And she said, Dave, we're just looking for people that are passionate and sort of are mission driven in this. Is that you? And I said, well, yes, it is. And, prior to that, I'd been answering questions from members in my club, as well as an area director. I'd try to answer their questions, but I really didn't do much. But then I went from 0 to 365, meaning for 365 days, 7 days a week, I studied every Pathways long form video on the internet, studied material from districts, and it's just been a wild ride ever since. And not only are we building, I guess, a mission of trying to help people in Pathways, but I think we're building a community. It's one member at a time is sort of the way we look at that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks. I'm taking notes here because what you're saying is really key. You're talking about passion, you're talking about mission, you're talking about focus, you're talking about connection. And we need that more than ever.
Yes.
People need that more than ever. Toastmasters, yes, for sure. We're so lucky to have an amazing culture within Toastmasters.
Yes.
And, club by club, but also area by direct, our district, et cetera. And here's the thing that I'm finding. The folks that are struggling with the pathways tend to have a fixed mindset. And I'm going to tell you something.
Yes.
I struggled with pathways for the first 6 months. I'm like, I didn't even go on I didn't want to go back into the computer and I wanted to see my book. I love my books. I have my stack. I still go back to them because I love them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But it took me time when I was first a newbie Toastmaster, right? When I was.
Absolutely.
So that I did get into a fixed mindset of where's my book? I need to follow and so I think that all of us can learn from this concept of we need to grow. Yes. And instead of fighting what's happening. And so when I saw that you were doing this course, I thought, okay, or this class and really on board with this, I thought, okay, I need to talk to you because we need to infuse some of this enthusiasm and this passion that you have naturally for pathways, because it's not this scary, ominous, horrible thing. It's not the bad guy, right?
Yes, yes.
It is actually an opportunity for you to grow. And when I embraced it, I went literally through a pathway and I applied everything directly to my business.
Yes, yes.
And this is what people don't realize is like, I have paid 5 and 6 figures to coaches.
Oh, yes.
Okay. For the content that I got for the $65 fee, yes. It was, what was it? I mean, because we paid for Zoom and stuff, right? It's like normally 45. Yes. We have room and whatever fees, right? 65 for 6 months.
Yes.
That includes a weekly speaking gig, folks, right? Yes. It's like, and you can go in there and go back and see all these right there for your pathways and learn it over and over again. And if you started out at like a 1 or a 2, you can get all the way up to a 5, which means you can be a student, and you have to have the student mindset to go in there like, I need to learn something, or I am open to learning something. So let me move to a 2 or a 3 next time. And I could even do this again and become a 4. And I could go in there again and become a 5 and master this stuff. Yes, right. Absolutely. And that's what really got me excited as soon as I got out of my own way, because I was really hitting up against this. Where's my manual? And I kept hitting up at that. I think, and I'm speaking for everybody, and I would love for you to type in the chat and reply. Let us know. I get it. I had steam coming out of my ears when I was trying to like navigate this and yes. back on Zoom and like, wait a minute, I no. So I get it. Yes. And Dave is here to talk to us about how this is going to shift. And he just explained where he was finishing his DTM in, I mean, it's, I don't want to say the old way, but it was the way at that time. And absolutely. We are evolving, and we're always going to be evolving. And folks, probably in 5 or 10 years, we're going to be in a different evolution and iteration. And that's yes. a good thing. So if we can start embracing this, I think it's going to help us as individuals. It will help yes. us in our relationships. It's going to help us as Toastmasters. It's going to help us in our business, et cetera, in life, right? We have to start iterating, evolving, keep our values, keep our high integrity, keep our fundamentals. This yes. is what we are as fundamentally as Toastmasters. We are connected. We are supportive, the evaluations that we do. So this is really, really important. And so, Dave, tell me specifically your whole plan along these lines as far as what are you going to present? Because, there's lots of education out there. Oh, yes. What's going to be different about your webinar? What's going to be different about creating this balance, with this material? Can you share with us that?
Absolutely. There are very specific things that we're going to be doing our best to help with. There, in the wider view, I'm going to present, and as well, then I want to tell you specifically how. What I have noticed in Pathways messaging is we seem to think that there's only 2 types of folks. The first one is the one that is totally on board with Pathways, comfortable, has goals. That's great. And then we have the ones that may not be, but still have their goals. And you just think, well, okay, well, Toastmasters Pathways is the education program. You just have to do it. Now, that certainly does appreciate the aspect of motivation. But the one part, in my opinion, that I would call a false dichotomy does not address is the cognitive needs, the mental needs. In other words, two huge things that I've come across with folks that are making that transition in particular are, one, that they can be overloaded, too much information. In other words, I've heard very well-meaning advice from people where, oh, if you have a question, just Google it. Well, if you say that to someone like me, because I'm very detail oriented, that's going to send me off into many rabbit holes, and that's not a quick solution. Then the other thing, besides overload, is what I call confusion. And that's where you have a lot of details, but you don't know how to integrate the knowledge. So I try to really think about what I call the third alternative. And that is, if we don't speak the same language, say, for example, if I'm speaking English, but the person I'm working with speaks Mandarin Chinese, neither one of us can cross over. We need that middle alternative. And to me, what we're looking for, I'm not going to totally give it away right now, but we've come up with a third alternative to meet that Toastmaster that is still transitioning in this well-meaning, excellent kind of way, of which I'm so thankful for their contribution through the years, Toastmasters through the years. We've found a medium which marries this sort of online world with this physical world where you can touch these things. And I guess I will give it away a little bit. It's in the form of customized PDFs. To my knowledge, this really has not been addressed anywhere in Toastmasters in the world. And it's just something that we're very excited to put out there. This has come from not just me thinking about it and, hey, wouldn't that be interesting? But this is through conversations for the past year as a Pathways proponent, many late night conversations, emails back and forth. It's the beginning. So that's the wider view. And then at this particular November 10th, I'm sure we're going to talk about the specifics, what we're going to be covering in this title. And it's picked intentionally because it is introduce Pathways into your club culture. And we believe that these changes, if we want them to have longevity, need to take place not only at the member level, but specifically at the cultural level, so that when a newcomer member comes in, it just flows, it happens very naturally. And there's a lot more that could be said, but we're going to address it at the cultural level by meeting people where they're at.
Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. I'm so excited. I can't wait to be there. So you mentioned it's November 10th. It's coming right up. You can book it now. I think you want to block your calendar off right now. It's from 7 to 8 p.m. It's November 10th. The Zoom link is right in on the calendar at the District 7 Toastmasters page. You just go right there. You're going to see it. It's Introduce Pathways into Your Club Culture. And this is really key because you talked about definitely around this false dichotomy and this mental hang up that we get into. And I suffered that for sure. So I can see, and then thank you for giving, I know you were kind of giving a secret away, but I think it's needed because as soon as you said that, I'm like, all of a sudden I started seeing this like, oh my gosh, I can print it off and put it in a binder, and I need my 3-ring binder, and I can highlight. I need my pretty colors and the highlight. Yes. And I think some of us do need that because that's what I go back and reference. And that's how I get better. Right. Yes. And that's how all of us can get better. It's not something one and done. And then it goes off into cyberspace or somewhere else. And I'm like, ugh. Yes. No, we want to integrate it. And that's what I think what you're trying to explain and what you're coming from is your own passion around how much you have discovered for yourself, how valuable this can be. And you're 100% right that too much information, it's all of a sudden it's want, right? And nobody learns that way.
Yes.
That's no fun. And so this idea of transitioning and bridging that I love that. I love that. That's the connection that we need. And so I'm gonna have a dedicated binder, and I can't wait. So we're gonna get the PDFs, and that's brilliant. So will we actually get them at that meeting? You're gonna go through everything with us?
Well, I'll tell you something about myself. Unless I'm on the verge of what I'm doing, it's like on the verge of breaking it. It's just no fun for me. So in that same vein, I'm going to be making suggestions, we'll say anecdotally, which may or may not rub precisely against the model of how this was presented. So yes, there will be some customized PDFs that are, I think would be not a problem at all in the messaging that is put out internationally, so to speak. And then as well, I'm going to make specific suggestions that you may or may not decide to do. But again, this is through extensive thinking. I've had some wonderful conversations with some folks coming from the traditional program. One in particular I can think of, I don't want to say his name because I didn't get his okay, but we had a wonderful conversation about his ideas, and I want to introduce his ideas and integrate the concept into this, where yes, there will be some PDFs ready to go. In addition, I'm going to give you some very actionable ideas to take that a step further if that's something you'd like to do.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay, this is fantastic. I'm so excited about this. We want everybody to know about this, not only for yourself, but like Dave was saying, the culture, our club culture is so important. Just to think back when you first arrived at your club and what lit you up about your club, what got you motivated to take the next step, to become a club member, to become a Toastmaster, and to put yourself out there. Think about this, to stand in front of a group of people, whether it's 1 or 100, it's terrifying, and this gift that Toastmasters gives us is the opportunity to get better and to embrace that terror to the point where you can then express the message that you are here to share, and only you can share in your unique way. That's what I'm passionate about bringing. That's what I'm passionate about supporting folks that understand, and the vehicle that we have through Toastmasters is the pathways. And that's what we have right now. And it's very workable. It's invaluable. Like I've said, to me, it's amazing.
Yes.
So I highly recommend, I'm not going to say you better be there, but I highly recommend it. November 10th, mark your calendar. It's 1 hour. And guess what? It will cost you nothing but your time and attention. So block that off, focus, dedicate your time so that you're focused on that. It's you brought this up, the too much information. We live in a world of tsunami of information, and a lot of it is nonsense. A lot of it is a waste of your energy and time, and don't let it take up space in your brain. So come to this one, November 10th, get exactly what you need, get your questions answered, and get a specific, tangible takeaway that will start you and your club immediately feeling the richness of this, and that connection within your own club will that will magnetize your club's growth as well. I want to tell you that, because when your club is cohesive and that culture is connected in a congruent way, and everyone's lit up by the excitement how they're learning and they're growing.
Yes.
You are going to attract more people to your club. And as a result, you'll get more excited, and then it just grows. I am 100% a believer in that. Yes. So embrace this, take this action. Anything else you want to say before we close?
Just again, in D7, we're so excited. We're trying to not only help individual members, which is really the mission, but we're going to do that through building this community. And the community right now is actually sort of an offshoot of the Pathways Proponents Committee we did last year. And this year, the head of the committee is our program quality director, Laurie Anderson, and all of our division directors are the Pathways proponents. In other words, in each division, there's a go-to person that you can ask for help. And you know what? We're team players. So say, for example, you understand, Joe's messaging in Pathways, but he's in a different division. No problem. Just reach out to Joe. In my view, same thing. If you enjoy what I'm saying and you're in a different division, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. It's a community effort. We're helping one member at a time. This is a monthly learning lab session. So this is actually, let me be even more specific. We have monthly Pathways learning lab sessions. Check the District 7 calendar. The first one, as you mentioned, coming up, the next one coming up is Wednesday, November 10th from 7 to 8 p.m. We would love to have you at this event.
I'm for sure going to be there. Going to sign up right now. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for being here. Make sure you let us know that you were here. Type replay if you saw the replay. If you're watching live, make sure you put in the chat that you are watching live. I love to see who's out there watching. And if this helps, let us know. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much, Dave. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Stephana. Thank you.